fashionistas, I'm doing today a little bit off track kind of video. As you can see, I don't even have makeup on. I'm going to show you how I do some prep for and how I study for big exams. My current exam, that is, my next exam is, well, I guess you would translate it into evidence law, but I'm pretty sure it has probably a different name in English. As some of you might already know, I'm a law student, and it's my last year, and I'll still have to go back because I still have one course to make up. But I wanted to show you how I do some prep work. So what I have here is my syllabus, which is always important. That's the first thing you need when sitting down to study. Also, it's a good thing to go through and make sure if anything has been crossed off the list and no longer is relevant. So for me in particular, this syllabus has 13 subjects, and I know that my 12 and 13 subject is not relevant for this particular test. So I'm just gonna, and it's a visual thing, so I do cross it up. So it's my 12 and 13. Everything else is relevant, 11 topics. Okay, so the other things that I have here is my planner, and I'm going to be doing a separate video regarding this. I have my actual study materials, or most of it. I have the bulk. I don't actually have the I don't have the rulings. I only have the basic underlines of them, and I have everything else. So this is a pretty big notebook. This is almost 150 pages long, including this. It is 150 pages long. I also have black markers, a pair of scissors, because my post-its do, for the most part, fit into this, as you'll see in a second, but they do have to be cut down just a little bit. So the first thing that I'm going to do is actually not use my notebook. I'm going to open the relevant day. So we're here, okay, and I have basically 1, 2, 3, and then the bulk of this morning to study. So I'm going to put this aside for right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use small post-its, and I'm going to basically go through my material, make sure I have everything here, and I'll also tab off, so you might want to have little arrow tabs, as you can see. I'm just going to use pink in order to make it peppy. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to mark off where each topic starts, okay? And I even have this, so I can actually go through this and follow the table, but I'm actually going to go through and make sure I have everything according to my syllabus. So what you want to do is you want to have your syllabus open, okay? So again, and you what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go one by one according to your syllabus and make sure that you have everything you need according to the syllabus, and just mark a V. I actually don't mark a V, I actually mark an X next to things that I'm missing, because then I do a separate, I go and I make sure that I have everything I need and everything that I'm missing, and it's much easier to go by what's missing actually. So I'm just going to go through and tab off, and I'm going to also, where's the sticky part? Okay, the sticky part is the arrow. Okay, so which one to? And yes, I like my things straight. By the way, I'm just pointing out I am a Hebrew, and Hebrew goes from right to left, not left to right. So you just, if this is confusing for you, just pointing out that fact, that may make a difference. So the other thing that you're going to want to do is I use at least 2 highlighters, and the reason I use 2 highlighters is to mark titles or stuff like that. You'll see in just a second. And the yellow one I actually use when I'm actually studying and reading, and this is to highlight important things. I will emphasize this enough because people don't understand exactly how highlighting works, and this sounds funny, but it's true, because I've seen people literally highlight almost entire pages. You're supposed to highlight like a strong statement or something that really clarifies. So you're not supposed to have the entire notebook highlighted. What I use green for is, in my case, I'm specifically highlighting names of rulings, and I'm not sure how you pronounce this in English, and then I mark a V next to what I need. So I'm going to go through that. When I studied art, for instance, I would highlight names of pieces, like a name of a person. Now, another way you can do this, and it's very important to stick to certain colors that are like a connecting thread between all your classics as much as possible. The other thing that is very important to mention, like for instance, I would use green for highlighting the names of the rulings, but if I wanted to highlight judge names, because let's say there's a really big case, and you wanted to make, and there's like several opinions on it, and you really want to know what the difference is, and this is like really important in your first year, then I would highlight each individual judge and a judge's name, not the entire ruling, in a different color, and that would make it very easy when I'm referencing to find things. Again, I'm a visual person, I need the colors, most people need the colors, so don't knock it before you actually done it. Okay, so now you've got your notebook. By the way, there have been phases in certain topics that I have gone and bounded the entire notebook, but I've learned over the years that I much rather work like this. Just make sure all your pages are numbered. Believe me, speaking from very bad experience in the math. It doesn't have to be precise, just remember mostly after what you're doing when you're finished with these is recycling them in any case. So now that you've done and gone through, what you need to do is start deciding what is your studying schedule. Now, if you don't have a table of contents, this is the point where you'll go and you'll do it. And as you can see, there's certain things that I know that are like, number 8 is like 4 pages long, and number 9 is 4 pages long, but number 10 is 24 pages long, okay? So you can tell that the time that I'm going to, it's very important to mark out how many pages, because if you don't, you won't separate your time properly. So here I have 10, 13 pages long, 13, 20. See, that's a really big chapter. I should give that more than enough time. Sweet. Okay, so you can tell that there's certain pages that there's certain topics that shouldn't take me all long. Now, realistically, I want to make sure that for each 10 pages, I have at least an hour dedicated. That sounds maybe a little bit, you have to, this is something that you have to base on yourself. If you have no experience studying or something like that, make sure you give yourself plenty of time, and after your first test, you'll figure out how long it takes you to study. And then you'll know that if there's something that, never take down from that, but certain topics will be more difficult for you to study, so you'll definitely want to give that more time. Also, if it's a mathematical topic, you'll want to give you enough time to do your calculations and stuff like that. So at this point, I'm going to make sure. So I decided to change my tab simply because the glue on these post-its are on the side here, and that means that I can cut this in half, which is what I was aiming for, as opposed to these tabs, these post-its, which I really like, but the glue is here, so I can't split them in half like I wanted to. So this didn't work out, but this definitely will. So what I'm going to do right now, and I do have this in the middle that has nothing to do with it, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to, and this is why I need my pair of scissors, because I wanted to cut this. Placed in my schedule. Now, one thing you can do if you don't have a calendar is actually print out like a weekly calendar, like kind of double on like an A4 or letter size page, and just put it in like that, and that would actually work very well. So now, the reason I'm putting out the times on my little post-its is so, realistically speaking, I know exactly how much time I have. And when you study like this, you want to make sure that you have enough time. So, as you can see, I'm putting today I'm going to make sure, and this will keep you, and if you have to move your little tabs, you want to make sure that they fit, by the way. As you can see, these fit perfectly in my little space. I like that. I love that. That's one of the features that I really like. So I'm making sure that I have enough time. So I know that this is already going to take me, these two tabs are already going to take me 2 hours. So if I finish that earlier and I don't want to do something else, like take a methodical break, I can move my tabs around and make sure I've accomplished more. It's just, you know, how you study. And always leave some empty gaps to move things around, just in case. Now this block that I said I have left, I'm leaving for reviewing the material over again, and that's very important to always have time like that dedicated. Otherwise, you're going to be really sorry, believe me. And several things that I want to point out. Do use visual aids. Visual aids or colorful post-its or numbers or topics. The reason I put this in my organizer, as you can see, is because all of a sudden, you know, this is 2 hours, 3.5, 5 hours, 6 hours here. That's basically my day. So it's very important to see that, at least for me. So here again, I have 1.5 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4.5 hours, and I've already spent an hour doing all of this organizing. So again, 6 hours, and here I have something in the middle of the day. These are very important things to know. Now, you never want to put it on like appointments or something like that. So it makes you more aware of what's going on with your time. This is very important. Always work with your syllabus, mark things on your syllabus. Even if there's little gaps missing, you can always go back and fill those if there's like pieces of art that you have to review, or rulings that you have to review again, so stuff like that. Also, when you do the entire go through of your notebook, there will be certain things that keep popping up as you're going through that. I mean, just spent an hour, but I know there's like 4 rulings that I have to reread again, just in case. I know those very well. So I know that those 4, when I have extra time, that's definitely what I'm going to do. Now, after studying these blocks and I have to review some rulings, I will read that like on the couch or something like that, and have a marker with me and a pen, but that will be less of an intensive of a study. The other thing that I really want to point out is, especially when you have 10 to 20 pages long of topics, and I'm not talking about a case that you have 30 topics and you know, they're all very short, but when you have something like this, 10 to 20 pages long, you want to make sure you take a short break between each. And I don't mean sit in your Facebook. That is a death trap. That really gets you. I'm talking about getting up, deciding that I'm going to edit a movie now if I have enough time, or I'm going to go over to the grocery store and do what I need to do. Take those things that you do during the day, take your shower, eat your lunch, stuff like that. Make sure that those things separate each time. Don't necessarily eat while studying. That will not be a very productive thing. Remember, if you take any aids like Ritalin, or I can't remember the other ones, you want to take those in time. You do not want to take them in the evening. They will keep you up and it will screw up your studying. Don't try to pull overnighters as much as you can. You see, it's bright and sunny outside. It's not even noon yet, and I'm going to utilize that in my advantage. Stick to one concentrated book or topic, and even if there's a bunch of nowadays with the internet, everybody's passing on their summaries and stuff like that. Make sure you stick to one good one. You can always then go and like kind of, if you're a fast reader, review things in your eyes and see if there was anything else in the other notebooks that you didn't notice in yours. But stick to one, because otherwise you will get confused, you will get lost, you will get overwhelmed. So stick to one. I really like the system of the little post-its in your planner, or if you don't have a planner, print out you can do this through Google Calendar. Just put it on the weekly view and just print out your week. This will be very, very handy, believe me. So keep these things in mind. Make sure you're set, you have everything you need in front of you, and focus on studying. This will be one of the ways. Now, this is another thing you're gonna find out. When you're a brand new student, you still don't know these. I'm gonna put the camera on me now. When you are a brand new student, woo, it's going down. When you're a brand new student, there's certain things that you don't know yet, as how well you remember material and how long it takes you to study. What was the other thing that I was gonna say? And what hours are good for you for study. I know that evening is very, very good for me, but I have to be careful because of my current medical situation. So I try to study as much as I can as early as possible, and I leave lots of empty gaps. You might decide that you are very good studying, you never have, and you will just keep a little bit of emergency time, just in case something happens and you run out of time or something like that. This will put you in perspective of how much stuff you actually have to study and how much time you have to dedicate to everything. And my recommendation is don't drop topics in the middle if you see that your time has run out. Finish studying them and reevaluate the rest of your post-its and re-separate them. This is basically sort of using a time pie. So if you have 10 hours, how are you going to dedicate that and how are you going to study? This also means if you have extra time and you finished, you can move on to your next thing. I always stay 10 pages for an hour because I feel that that gives me enough time to actually evaluate things, and if things have a lot of laws and a lot of things that I really have to go and sit down, I have enough time. But also if I have that extra time, I can progress, and I really suggest this, having enough time for everything. Don't take little time. Don't say, oh, I finished, okay, now let's go on and have fun. Don't do that. Try to plan your day in such a way that you're really focused. Now, if I didn't have this little time, like next week I really have a whole week of studying in front of me, but it's a really big topic. I'm going to want to dedicate, instead of 10 pages per hour, I'm going to want to have at least an hour for every, I want to have like 10 pages and a half an hour or something like that, because it's a really big topic. So I'm going to make sure to study early on. Also, after finishing a test, the rest of the day I will, even if I touch my next topic, I will only plan it in such a way that I don't really get into the material too much. By the way, rearranging your material and taking what you have and evaluating your time and everything kind of puts you in the study mode without actually starting to study. I will suggest that if you have to study for more than one topic at a time, and this is true if you like, I think in the States you have like 1 week of finals, so you can't wait for the very last time to study. You don't have like what I have here, like a full 3 days to study for something. So I suggest using different color post-its for different topics, and that's just another visual thing to keep you on track. So keep this in mind. I really like this system. You still have things that you have to do, but what I really like about this is because you really don't know, you can move your post-its. Anyways, that is my little tidbit of how I start studying. Tips and other things, just stay focused, don't go on Facebook. I only do that in the evening or while I'm eating lunch. There's a good thing. You really want to do two things while you're eating. Eat and do Facebook, okay? So, but when you finish eating, put your plate and go back to studying. This is very difficult, I know, for a lot of us. You just have to learn how to do that. There's no tips and tricks. You just have to learn how to do this. I know there's all kinds of blockers and stuff like that, and when it comes down to it, that kind of helps a lot of people, but if you really wanted to, you couldn't surpass that. So just keep that in mind. If you like this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you have any other tips or tricks, I would love to see them, so you can comment down below and I'll see, and tell me what you're studying, obviously, so we can get an idea of what kind of studying you have to do. And that's it. All my links for my social media will be down below. Of course, there will be much more fashion and beauty coming your way. So that's it. Have an easy study period, and if you're starting a new year soon, so have a nice school year. That's it, everybody. Have a nice day. Bye.